Welcome to today. The time is now, and you are here with me. Thank you for that. Hopefully I'll say words that go into your ears that you find useful. There's something that I learned from Freud. I learned a lot from Freud. Most of it wasn't massively practical, but something that is practical and that you can use on a day-to-day basis was Freud's insistence that we as human beings try as much as we can to follow a discipline of being completely honest with ourselves, at least. Of course, you should do your best to be honest with the people around you, to the extent that it is possible, to the extent that it is within the boundaries of what we could consider to be kind and for the highest good of all concerned. Total, brutal honesty, honesty can be wielded like a club. And it can be wielded sadistically, and it can be wielded with the intent to hurt. So that's not what I'm talking about. But there's never a time where you can't be or shouldn't be completely honest with yourself. Because life is hard and confusing and full of disappointments and heartbreaks and not a bowl of effing cherries spewed out of a unicorn's bumhole. The tendency to want to cope with that by creating fictions and by creating stories that shield us from the truth, that provide us with a layer of blue pill around the truth. The temptation to do that is extreme. I know. I also am a human trying to get through this thing called life on Earth. And it is one of the greatest temptations, which is to start to tell lies to yourself about who you are, how you're living, and what you want. And I really strongly recommend that you fight that tendency by following a discipline of rigorous self-honesty at all times. At the very least, you can say to yourself, how do I really, really feel about this? If you step outside of that, let me say something a little bit controversial. If you ever step outside of that, you are behaving codependently. You are behaving within the realms of what we would call a fawn response or a people-pleasing response. You can be a people-pleaser to yourself. You can be a people-pleaser to your own ego. And you can kind of, in a certain sense, if we stretch it, you can kind of say you can act codependently to yourself. Because what you're doing is you're working around yourself so that you don't upset yourself. In much the way you would with an abusive partner or a difficult boss. Well, I don't want to make them angry, I don't want to make them upset, so I'll feed them non-truths, minor fictions, white lies. Sometimes we do that with ourselves. There are hard truths, there are difficult conversations to be had, there are difficult thoughts to think, and challenging emotions to feel, to emote. But what other choice do we have? Anything else, any deception, any self-deception, any deception of other people is only going to create negative karma. Bad cause is bad effect. Bad intent is bad result. And who knows how big that negative effect can be when it builds up over time. We can start with the smallest series of little white lies and project it over a 15, 25-year period. They can build something truly monstrous. Always better to be honest, always better to have the hard conversation now and to do it sooner rather than later. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time and for your attention, and I look forward to speaking to you again tomorrow. Cheers.